A warm welcome to Disky Talk with Liolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I do ask that you please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you've been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, on today's episode, I discuss all things Dstv Premiership action as I have a tactical pre-match analysis of Orlando Pirates versus Supersport United. So it is third place taking on second place. So when you have a look at it then, the red team will represent Orlando Pirates and then the blue team will represent Supersport United. With Orlando Pirates then, like I mentioned, they currently do sit in third place as they do have 34 points. With Supersport United, they currently do sit in second place with 39 points. So it is then a mouth-watering encounter, especially considering then that they are then looking to compete for that second spot for the CAF Champions League. However, let's have a look at Orlando Pirates then with regards to how they look to go about things. So with Orlando Pirates then in the beginning of the season, do know that they were playing a 3-4-3, but they have switched and they currently do play then a 4-2-3-1. So when you have a look at Orlando Pirates then, in goals, you do have China who starts in goals. And then at left back, the last time out, they did start with Hoto, which is quite interesting then because then at right back, they then start with Marco and then they leave Monyane on the bench. That is quite interesting then because when you do have a look at that situation, it is then players being played out of position and it does then compromise Orlando Pirates whenever then they are in possession and also from a defensive perspective because then these two aren't playing then in their natural position. So I'd like to think that going into this encounter that they could look to rectify that and have Marco playing as the left back and then have Monyane playing as the right back. However, the last time out, it was Hoto at left back. Left-sided centre-back, they did start with CBC. Toki as the right-sided centre-back. And then as the right-back, they did start with Pasek Marco. Moving on then, right along within the heart of midfield, when you do have a look at their double pivot, you've got Tim and then you've got Ndlondlo. Tim is the one then who does sit deepest as the pivot. With Ndlondlo then, he is an 8. He is more responsible with regards to looking to progress that ball and offer that creativity for this Orlando Pirates side within those deep pockets of space and then looking to work that ball within the final third and even then to his more creative players. And then as the 10, the last time out, they did start with Udlamini. Off the left-hand side, they started with Loch. Off the right-hand side, they did then start with Monapule Saleng. And then up front, they did start with Erasmus. But we do know that there is Zukamanja, who has also been starting up top. Also then within the creative positions, within the wide areas, you also then do have Vincent Pule, who can start off the left, and then you can look to push Loch as a 10. But that is what Orlando Pirates looked like the last time out. So let's have a look at Orlando Pirates then in possession with regards to what are they trying to do. So with Orlando Pirates then, they do institute quite the deep build-up as China has been quite key to that because he is a goalkeeper then who's very comfortable on the ball with regards to allowing this Orlando Pirates to be able then to build up from deep. So when you have a look at it then, a lot of the times that is what sort of the shape that you would see from this Orlando Pirates side with regards to how they're looking to build up. They do also have a build-up scheme where you would see the centre-back being the one then to pass the ball to China. And from that perspective, then it does give the team in build-up phase a lot more control and initiative, especially then against an opposition press, because then a lot of the times what the opposition would do is divide the field into two from a vertical perspective, and what they'd be looking to do then is force the team then in build-up to build up on a certain side, where then they'd be looking to go man for man and mark them from that perspective. But when a team does look to build up in this manner, it does then give the team in build-up a lot more control and a lot more initiative with regard to the side that they opt to build up through. Even then, sometimes they can go through the middle because then the strikers are not quite sure which side are they going to go because it is central with the goalkeeper. And then when you move on then right along, when you have a look at it, Ndlondlo and Tim become quite key then with regards to how they look to position themselves, often behind the first line of pressure from the opposition, and how then they'll be looking then to progress that ball. Then you'd have the fullbacks looking to open up in those wide areas, within those wide channels, and then you'd have the left winger there. You'd have Dlamini looking to offer that lateral movement in between the opposition line. And then you'd have Saleng. Sometimes what you would see is that Saleng would be looking then to come inside and occupy the right side of half space. That would open up the space then for the right back looking to push up. That is what Orlando Pirates look like deep in build-up with regards to how they're looking then to progress the ball. And then when you do then move on then right along and have a look at them with regards to their offensive scheme. So when you have a look at this Orlando Pirates side with regards to their offensive scheme. So let's say, for example, the ball is on the left. Sihoto looking to push up. You'd have Lorch there. You'd have Erasmus. Dlamini would push into there. You'd have Saleng. Then you'd have Tim Ndlondlo. You'd have the centre backs. So a lot of the times what you would see then from this Orlando Pirates side is sort of this shape with regards to having this 3-2-5 offensive scheme. Sometimes it does become a 2-3-5 with Marco then, or with the right-sided fullback looking then to sometimes looking to tuck in to midfield, ensuring then that they always have at least 4 to 5 numbers behind the ball, because sometimes what you will see is one of the fullbacks then on the right-hand side looking then to add numbers. Sometimes it does look somewhat of that shape. Sometimes the fullback will be a bit more conservative. Then you'd have Ndlondlo who looks to push up and looking then to add numbers. Sometimes that is the shape that you'd see. So from a rest defense perspective, they always do look to have at least 4 players then behind the ball. With regards to the offensive scheme, that is what they look like. And they do tend to institute wide overloads as well, especially then on the left-hand side, where then you would see Hoto, you'd see Lorch. Sometimes you'd even see Saleng looking to drift then to the left-hand side, because he does offer that lateral movement in between the lines. And when you do have a look at this Orlando Pirates side then, with regards to their strengths, when you have a look at Orlando Pirates then, offensive set plays. So offensive set plays, they're quite strong in that regard, especially considering that they have Saleng, who is very key with regards to delivering those whipped crosses into the box. Also then, when you have a look at their offensive transitions, as they've got very, very quick players, and as of late, we have seen them improve their finishing in front of goals, so they are scoring a lot more goals. And then, when you do have a look at their key player then, it is Monopule Saleng. So when you have a look at Monopule Saleng, this is a player then who does play as an inverted winger. He does start within that right wide channel, but a lot of the times then he does look to cut into that right side of the half space. He does look to cut in, looking to take shots at goal. He is a player then with very good technical ability. So from those set pieces, he can deliver those crosses, direct free kicks as well. He is quite dangerous from that regard. Also then a player then who is quite key with regards to their offensive transitions and looking then to exploit that space in behind whenever then opposition do look to leave space in behind, is a player that can look to exploit that. He scored a lot of goals for Orlando Pirates. He's also assisted a lot of goals for this Orlando Pirates side. So he is quite a key player for this Orlando Pirates side, and he is a very, very dangerous player for this Orlando Pirates side, and is then their key player. Then when you have a look at this Orlando Pirates side then, without the ball, what would they look like? So without the ball then, when you have a look at this Orlando Pirates side, a lot of the times they do look to sit in a mid-block, and they look to sit then in a very compact 4-2-3-1 mid-block. So that is what this Orlando Pirates side would look like with regards to their mid-block and how compact they do become. Sometimes you would see two like that if Dlamini does decide to join the striker, being Erasmus or being Zukamanja. Sometimes then when it comes to their pressing, sometimes they would press with 1, sometimes they would press with 2. They're quite situational in that regard. They are not a team then that is always looking to press opposition. Sometimes they would be looking to sit within a mid-block. When you have a look at this Orlando Pirates side then, one of their weaknesses, which is key to note, especially considering that they come up against a Supersport United side, which is tactically and defensively organized, is that they do tend to struggle to break down a very compact mid-block and a low block. So in possession, with regards to being able to find that fluidity, that final third penetration and cohesiveness, they do sometimes struggle to create chances from open play. So you do see them then becoming a lot more reliant with regards to the offensive transitions and offensive set plays as well. When it comes then to another set piece situation, when it comes to defensive set plays and defensive set pieces, they do struggle in that regard. So that is also then another weakness which is key to note, especially considering how good Supersport United are and how aggressive they do become with regards to those offensive set pieces. And also then in play, crosses that they do look to play. So that is Orlando Pirates then, overall, with regards to what they look like, their strengths, their weaknesses, and their key player as well, like I did mention, is Monapule Saleng. When we move on then right along, let's have a look at Supersport United. So with Supersport United then, they do play a 4-4-2. That's what they have been lining up like. So in goals, you do have Ricardo Goss, who's been doing very well for this Supersport United side. As a result of that, he has gotten a call-up to the national team. And then at right back, you got Keegan Johannes. As the right-sided centre-back, you've got Tulani Hlatshwayo, you've got Ditlokwe as the left-sided centre-back, and then at left-back, you then have either Pasera or you've got Rapu. And then moving on then, right along within the heart of midfield, you do have Magaman, and then you do have Ndlovu. And then off the right-hand side, you've got Maseko, and then you've got Masangwanye. But they do tend to swap sides quite a bit, as they are then their most creative players for this Supersport United side. They do possess a lot of skill and a lot of trickery. More so with Maseko, he's a lot quicker and a player then who's very dynamic and very explosive. And then up front, the last time out then, they did start with Gabuza and Lipasa, but you do know that there's also Niang, there's also Grobla as well, who are options then within that offensive line. However, when you have a look at Supersport United, then with regards to what do they look like in possession. So with Supersport United, it is key to note that they are quite the direct side in possession. So they are not a team then that is always looking to keep ball possession and build up from deep. They're quite situational because they do have players who are very good on the ball, and when the moments do allow within a game, they are able to keep the ball very well, but they do tend to be quite direct and quite penetrative with regards to their usage of ball possession. When you look at them then, which is something which is key to note then, so when Supersport United then are playing against a side that sits maybe in a mid-block that isn't looking to press them, what you would see then, whenever the centre-backs have the ball, is that you would see the full-backs looking to invert. So ball side fullback would invert, and then the winger would be looking to offer that option within that wide pocket of space. So they'd go as wide as possible, and that would create then that wide passing lane. That would happen on the left-hand side with Pasera or Rapu, where then you'd see them looking to invert whenever then the centre-back would be looking to progress with the ball. So that is quite key then to note, because that is something they do then within their build-up scheme when they do have the ball. However, when you do have a look at then their offensive scheme with regards to what they look like, so with this Supersport United side then, it is quite key to note then that they are very aggressive within the wide areas. So they do institute a lot of wide overloads with their fullback, their winger. So this is what you would see. So for example, you'd have maybe their fullback there, and then you'd have their winger who would be a lot tucked in. Then let's just push those numbers into the box. They'd be looking then to attack the box. Then what you would see then is that the far side fullback would be looking to become a lot more conservative. They'd be looking to tuck in, and they'd be looking then to penetrate through the wide areas. That is their strength. So with this Supersport United side, then they're very strong with regards to penetrating through the wide areas and how then they look to deliver those balls into the box, be it from open play crosses or be it from set pieces. That is their strength. When you do have a look then at a key player for this Supersport United side, I would say then that it is Thapelo Maseko. This is a player then who is very dynamic, very skillful, very creative, and he's also got an eye for goal. Can come off the right-hand side, where then he does look to cut in and take those shots. But on the right-hand side, he can also look then to beat his fullback on the outside and look to cut it in. On the left side, the same thing as well. So on the left side, what you would see from Thapelo Maseko a lot more is that he would be looking then to beat his man on the outside and look to deliver that ball. But this is a player then who's quite intelligent with regards to his positioning. So sometimes you would see him being a lot more tucked in, or can drift in on the left-hand side and look to take shots at goal himself. That is Supersport United then with regards to how they look and in possession, their strength as well, and how then they look to attack opposition. Without the ball, what do this Supersport United side look like? So I did mention that this Supersport United side is very, very disciplined from a tactical and a defensive perspective. So what you would see them do then is sit in a very compact 4-4-2 block. Sometimes then it does become sort of a 4-2-3-1 where one of the strikers will drop in. So this is what Supersport United do very well. So when they do go ahead, they are able to sit quite deep and manage the games very well. That is also a strength of Supersport United, where they are able then to manage the games very well. So they would be looking then to sit in sort of that fashion. And then when you do have a look at then this Supersport United side with regards to weaknesses. So when you have a look at this Supersport United side, they do have quite a slow defensive line. So against opposition that have speedy players, they do tend to struggle, especially then within those wide areas where a team can institute those wide overloads and look then to exploit those wide areas. Even in those 1v1 situations with their fullbacks, sometimes they do tend to get exposed. And whenever then Supersport United have instituted a high line, the opposition can look then to get behind that high line. So that is then Orlando Pirates versus Supersport United coming up then into this mouth-watering encounter. It is then quite a key clash then for that second spot, as they are then vying for that CAF Champions League spot. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this game plays out at home. Do let me know who wins this one with regards to Orlando Pirates versus Supersport United. Do you see Orlando Pirates being able to get 3 points and closing the gap? Or do you see then Supersport United getting 3 points and being able to broaden that gap and being able then to ensure that they can cement that second spot? Or do you see them sharing the spoils a point apiece? Thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Diski Talk with Luyolo. Signing out.